Hello everyone, I'm Gerone Wright here in another video. Um, in this video, I'm going to be discussing a little bit about our famous ancient astronaut appearing suits that appear globally, where there seems to be um, some of our ancient ancestors actually had a knowledge or encountered that of aliens from space, according to that of ancient alien theorists and many other believers. Um, okay, I mean, we can go with that, and we can believe that, but I just want to just point out the fact that there are other logical explanations for why these suits appear on our ancient ancestors. Okay, meaning such as this one here, and this is global. Here, down here. This is not the best of picture either, people. By the way, um, why these suits appear. First of all, let me give you logical explanation one. Why these suits are on our ancient ancestors, or if they are suits, okay? Because I guess no one never knows if they actually wore these things, or if there was anything involved in this, and this apparently was like a spaceship or whatever. But we don't have one buried, an ancestor buried in one, so I guess science will never authenticate or approve of such a theory anyway. But okay, first of all, we always look to space to explain away abnormal things and occurrences here and ancient finds here in our world. We always look to space. I mean, which is okay too if it's unexplainable here in our world. We have to look beyond. I guess that's our way of getting around being getting the scientific approval here on our planet. Because now, if it's out in space, one logically accepts it in their mind, and that's the way it must be. However, let's look at these suits. First of all, people, we live in a water world. We have less water in our world than we would have had back then, because of the fact that now we have less water in our world now than we would have had back then, because our planet's water is being evaporated through the evaporation process throughout the radiation of the sun. So, wouldn't it have been more logical that these suits would have had been actually utilized more logically, in a sense, to either try to travel through water, in water, or achieve an exploration of water in our water world than it would be in space? I mean, space is a far place and distant place in the mind to actually get to for our people. So it seems to me, living in a water world, that every day, if I had all of these large bodies of water around me, I would be more interested in trying to create a device that actually would permit me to either dive in the water, or a flotation device that helped me get across the water to other places, to explore other places. I mean, I would not have been looking at having a suit for space travel. Okay, so um, I'm looking at this in that sense. Now, that's logical explanation one. Logical explanation two. These suits, imagine there's more evidence of there being meteor strikes and meteorites landing in our world, and there being radiation contamination of our world. Our ancestors. Here's another logical picture. Our ancestors driven into exile in caves, or something of that sort, because a radioactive contamination of our world, or certain locations of our world. And the only way that they could come back out into these areas is that they had to be provided with some type of protective wear, so that they can actually venture out to get food, to test water, or to do any of the above things. Okay, that was logical explanation two. Logical explanation three, which I liked the best. Okay, because there is more supporting evidence of that than all of the rest. But logical explanation 1, logical explanation 2, and now we're at logical explanation 3. Logical explanation 3. There is evidence, people, that we have evolved through that of a reptilian ancestor. I have found overwhelming evidence of it being a factual thing, that we have evolved from reptilian ancestors, and I'm going to show you that evidence in just a moment. Just some of the many that is recorded, people, that this is what occurred. But I guess we're not ready to accept that yet. But I guess once my discoveries go global, we'll actually be able to accept it then. All right, so. If we evolved, as I stated, from reptilian ancestors, reptiles, imagine having a skin or a genetic makeup to where you could not stay in the sun for long periods of time. So therefore our ancestors developed body wear that would allow them to stay out in the sun for longer periods of time. And this is how they evolved from their reptilian state unto the natural way of what we are today. This is an evolutionary process where they evolved out of the darkness of caves and a reptile-like state to that of being able to come out and endure the sun. That's logical explanation 3. Now, I would accept any one of the 1, 2 through 3 explanations of mine before I would actually accept the fact that we have to actually look at these suits being made because aliens traveled to our world from space, or our ancestors were mimicking that of ancient astronauts that flew to our world from space. Now, the reason why now this has to be dismissed, that theory has to be dismissed, because you have 3 logical explanations why these suits would be utilized in our world. So if you have 3 logical explanations before you can look to space, wouldn't it make only logical sense that we have to dismiss the idea of there being aliens that travel to our world, and this is the inspiration behind these suits being created or being pictured in pictures by our ancestors? And the answer is yes, a profound yes. Okay, now let me show you some of the other suits here that are there is another of these 2 guys shown here with some type of headgear on, okay, and then here is another. People, we live in a water world. Back then, during these times of our ancestors, there would have been much more water. All of these bodies of water around these ancient civilizations. People, it's only logical that any device or any head device that these people would have actually tried to put, it would actually been dealing with them trying to navigate or explore or the water bodies, the massive water bodies of our world. That thought would have came first before there was anything dealing with space. Then again, like I told you, that we have a reptilian ancestry. If these people could not venture out into the sun because of a cancerous effect by the radiation of the sun, being partial reptile, then that would be another explanation for these suits, these protective suits, so they can stay out into the radiation of the sun for a longer period of time. And then 3, again, people, the fact that if an object from space hit our world, and there was a radiation fallout to where these people had to go into hiding, they would have created something that they could actually venture back out again in this radiation contaminated world of ours, and which we claim killed our dinosaurs in the first place, so they could actually travel out. Now, if you didn't want to believe that people existed during the time of dinosaur, then why do we have all of these pictures in Angkor Wat and the Peruvian stones and all of the other evidence that these Renaissance artists has actually depicted mankind with dinosaurs, which actually lends to the remarkable finding that we did exist during the time of the dinosaur. It's just not included in our history. Now, I want to show you something else. Let me take this down. And what do we have here? Here's another famous ancient alien theory that this represents that of aliens. And that looks like a gray, and it shows you how there might have been something going on. People, are we that naive that we can't read pictures that possibly a third grader or a second grader could actually figure out? I mean, are we that naive? People, look at this image. Look at this for a second. We have taken this and perceived this to be a visitation from aliens. You know what this is telling us? That creatures of our world were genetically bridged with that of reptiles. There's a turtle there, there's turtles there, and you see snakes, and then you see the likenesses of man there. These are the same things with the Drupa stones, the whole nine. It shows you how mankind, on two different paths, were genetically bridged with reptiles, and then there was as a result, reptilian creatures were created, and which actually caused for the later existences of what we are now. Look at the snakes up here, people. What in the hell do this have to do with aliens? These are creatures of our world. Turtles and snakes. It is the same thing with my discovery that I have had in Angkor Wat. Now, this image is identical and says the same message as this image. This mythical person, Medusa. She appears in everything. These snakes in the head, in the face. This woman gets more love in Renaissance art than you could ever imagine. If that's the case, then we know that she had to be real. Look at Medusa there. This image is suggesting the same thing as what is being said here. That through genetic manipulation involving the genetics of reptiles, this ancient snake which represents that of reptilians, the snake is utilized and is telling you that this woman, this mythical person, Medusa, was part reptilian. And this is something that we evolved from. You want to see something more real time than that? Than Medusa, a mythical? Here's something real time right here. The same statement that's being said here with this so-called ancient alien, which I'm telling you, which is not, is telling you where we evolved from. It's the same thing that's being said there. Here's some ancient stones, ancient Swedish stones, monuments. Now, these things are dated back to, I think it's like 300 BC. I might be wrong, but they're old. 300 BC, I believe that I read them. There is an image up here of Medusa with all of the snakes stemming off from her head, and then you have all of these snakes in the body of the stone, and you see a cross going between the middle, indicating cross-referencing, and people is saying the same exact thing as that of this. So how can there be a mythical myth of this person, and here you have people go through, ancient Swedish people go through the process of putting this in stone? Now check this out. Look at the record of all of this going around, a dated record shows you the evolutionary process of what occurred here and what this all is symbolizing. Now, why is it on this stone? Because people, the stone symbolizes the ancient founding genetics of all mankind, which I actually just happen to know what they are. So, taking the stone and all of these images, and in totality, they represent a evolutionary time and a period that mankind evolved through to become what he is today, and this is a genetic grail as to who we are. People, this stone dated back 300 BC. An image of Medusa, snakes coming out of her head. Supposedly a mythical person, but yet she's getting love throughout our globe as being as real as ever. Why would you bother to go through the extreme of making such a record of this person if this person did not exist? You know why? Because she's factual. And in this artwork of her, they even go as far to show the snakes, which represent that of Reptilian as well too, and then it shows the wings, letting you know that this represents everything that is ancient, the bird. And we all know where the bird evolved from, okay? And the dinosaur, the story of the bird. You can't just look at, and then the face of Medusa represents that of mankind. Letting you know, people, that through Reptilian and our ancient creatures of this world, which are represented here in the backdrop, that mankind emerged. And this is where the myth of Medusa evolved from. It's letting you know through the reptilians and ancient creatures of our world, in a combination, in a unison, there was birth given to mankind. And this is the secret behind the myth of Medusa. Now, another ancient Swedish rock. And I'm gonna go back to that Medusa image again too, by the way, people. Another ancient Swedish rock. People, again, where do I have? I think I might have this upside down. Do I? No, it's upside down, that one. People, here is. It is upside down. Or is it? Well, I'm gonna leave it like that. Well, no, let's do it like this. Another Swedish rock. I'm going to turn it upside down. People, look at the serpent with all of these markings on it. The same thing that is in the Egyptian glyph of that supposedly Egyptian light bulb, where I showed you, I made a video of it here with the snake, letting you know the different levels of genetic manipulation. Letting you know the time frame in which these manipulations, this creature evolved into the likeness of mankind. And look at this, people. Look at the snake head. There's the tail. There's the head. And it lets you know, people, that this is a record of who we are. We evolved from this creature. And this snake appears in celestial form in space, which I have actually shown, and I have a video of that. And on top of that, our Mayan ancestors have two giant stone snakes appearing as they do, evolving from space onto our world and being commemorated on the Mayan temples and plus across the globe as being gods. I guess so, if they actually called for our creation. Look at this, people. How stupid can we be? Now, I said that we evolved from the snake. There's Medusa right there on a 300 BC before Christ creation, rock carving, that the snake calls for our creation. And by the way, I can go deeper into detail than this too, people, by the way. Look, I'm telling you that all of this represents That's what that means. Okay? Alright? Starting from there. Now, even the Vatican acknowledges that we evolved from the snake. Let's not forget my image of Nervy Hall. Let me show you the Pope down there first of all. You see the Pope? Why is this? Alright. Look at the Pope down there, people. This is Nervy Hall. And it's named after the hall of the creator of the hall, the architect of the hall, Nervy. And the sculpture is by Fenzini. He's the sculptor of this mess. It's supposed to be the nuclear explosion. Well, I don't know how they got with nuclear behind that. Why would there be a nuclear explosion in the time of Christ? You know what I mean? So that doesn't even make sense. But we see Christ hanging up there in this mass up here. And then I decoded that it is actually the head of a snake that Christ's body is shown evolving out of. You Google this image, you turn it sideways. I highlighted the teeth for you, which are there. I highlighted the eye, which is there. All of these defining features is nothing that all I did was just enhanced it. That's it. All of these lines are there, and the snake even has a worm-like creature in its mouth that has the head of a man on it. Now, where does it connect to? Well, besides Jesus' body, let me turn him back around so you get the full gist of this. Not just from Jesus' body, you see Jesus' body emerging, letting you know, people, that man emerged from that of Reptilian, from this creature right here, this ancient creature, is where we evolved from. And then there's the worm with the head of a man on it right there, showing you that this G genetics calls for our creation. Then, people, again, we have a reptilian ape. Where we at here? Oh gosh, a reptilian ape, and I have a video on this too, by the way, too, people. You can, I don't know, here let me get this back up right. We have a reptilian ape, people, right there. Okay, I'm not going to go through all of this again, and I have a video out on this, but we have a reptilian ape right there. There's a nostril, there's an eye socket, there's an oxygen, there's the cranium, the head. And there's the ape's mouth with a genetic linking chain in its mouth right there. I can read this entire sculpture through my paranormal experience and encounter. And here we have those that have hidden this information from us through all that time. You have a bishop, cardinal there. There is our dear Pope. And there is another bishop or cardinal onto that side. And this is what these secrets are all about. And this is what is being worship and commemorated right there. Now, the same thing that's being said here is being said here, is being said here, is being said here, and it is my position where I started it all from, though. It makes logical sense that these suits were not utilized for that of space travel or any of the sort. It was because we evolved through the likenesses of all of these creatures that was created through an evolutionary process, and if suits were needed, it was needed for either protective wear here on our planet, for the logical sense of that of us being evolving from our reptilian state and having to evolve through a time where protective covering or clothing would have been needed to get through that stage and that stage of evolution. Or more logical, the other explanation for perhaps to be in the water, and then number two, to a fallout from a meteorite strike on our world. Okay, this is where I'm going with this, people. And now, just yesterday, I made this amazing discovery. And let me go with Medusa again. This is a 2,000-year-old Jordanian cave discovery, cave art discovery. Let me bring Medusa back up here again. That I discovered, and the painting, the painting was covered in soot. And I'm just only going to do this real quick because I have a video out on this as well, too, people. Was covered in soot. Here you have this woman image playing a flute like the Pied Piper, and it shows the snake coming as a result. I gave her a face and then decoded all of the images that are hidden in her hair, which actually include a demonic horn-like figure, which is there. There's our 8. There's the image of a reptilian-like black man. There's the mother of creation, and then there's the head of a dinosaur right there. Now I'm going to give you the woman. There she is. I gave her a face and all of the creatures that I actually highlighted. This is a 2,000-year-old Jordanian cave painting, Petra Jordan cave painting, which was discovered, I believe, in 2000, and it was covered with soot. They took the soot off of it, and the image and likeness was there. Oh, they didn't see none of this. Of course, all of this is my discovery from just yesterday. So this is all brand new, and I'm exposing it here on YouTube. Okay, this is all they see. Is this? I see all of this, and I even highlighted our snake right there. She's playing the snake. You know who this woman is representing? She represents our mythical snake lady, Medusa. It lets you know all of these objects in her hair, the evolutionary process from which these creatures we evolved, and the likenesses. If you remove these creatures right here that I have, there's the ancient dinosaur, there's the mother of creation, there's our demonic, the devil-like being, there's the ape, and there's the image of that of black man. It shows you how we evolved from this likeness, these likenesses, to this. And it's the same thing that Medusa is telling you, that she evolved from all of these likenesses to become this likeness, the same exact message which is being said here. You just have to know the evolutionary passage of these creatures here, and these creatures here represented by the wings, which is the dinosaur and the snake. You have to know their evolutionary passage to understand the picture that is here, which this came before this. This is more encrypted than this, but this came before, so it is in its rawest of form. And this is where the artist is bluntly stating how we evolved. Almost over 2,000 years ago, this information was known. So, why did we not know this? You know why you have to blame for not knowing this information and hearing it from me now? Is because think back on all the early explorations of those that went out and explored all of those supposedly one-fault battles. Think of those early explorations commissioned by the Vatican, commissioned by Spain, and namely the conquistadors and Christopher Columbus, Pierre Rice, and all of those people. Remember all of that? Those people were set on missions to destroy evidence of this stuff. Think about that for a moment. To destroy the evidence of this stuff. And they collected this knowledge, took everything that they had. Not only did they kill these people, take their gold, rob them, and do unthinkable crimes and unimaginable crimes to all of these people that actually lived in these civilizations where they supposedly had just disappeared and vanished and up and left. They stole their history and then brought it back and took and put an interpretation on life and started playing God in a way that now we have to believe folk tales, ancient biblical tales, not just in Christianity, but across the board, on what their idea is of it that we should be believing in, and where we're going in death, and what we should do in life, when our ancient ancestors had the truth already mapped out. And it's like images like these, and that keep getting buried up today through archaeology, archaeologically. Oh gosh, I don't know how my tongue is getting messed up with this. Must have had too much coffee. Through explorations of archaeology, geology, these things are popping up, people. And the reason why they're popping up is because this is the truth about who we are. And science has run out of running out of explanations of trying to explain it away. And especially now, since I'm sitting here giving you the truth of why it is even here in the first place. Look at this, people. How this is boldly on display at the Vatican. Almost over 6,000 people sit before this Mass at Nervi Hall. And here, these people know exactly what the hell is going on with us, how we came into existence. And on top of that, they are genetically manipulating the genes of mankind today as we speak, because this is what all of this hidden secret is all about. This stuff right here. My name is Gerone Wright. You're watching my Geronification channel. And people, you need to take your mind off of aliens in space and what's happening in space, and refocus your thoughts on reality, which is here on our planet. Because this is reality right here. This is reality right there. This is reality right here. 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 Okay? And it explains why you have this. People, my name is Gerone Wright. You're watching my Geronification channel, and I'm going to continue to keep bringing you these remarkable videos. And oh, by the way, I can tell you what aliens are. I'm not going to do that now, but I know what aliens are. I know the origins of aliens. I know what's going on, the symbolizations for aliens. And angels too, by the way, people. And angels, not just aliens. I don't know why this is so clear now. Before it was a little cloudy. But I know the symbolization for all of that. I know exactly what's being described with aliens and ancient artwork. I know about angels. All of that information through my paranormal experience and encounter. Okay? I know what it all means. I'm also on alien UFOs, people. You can catch me there, and that's where I evolved from. I started out and I was all over the place, and now I'm a little bit more under control. And but people, you can't be normal with seeing and trying to understand this. And through my multi-dimensional ability to see things and understand things much more differently than the so-called normal people, I can continue to bring you things like that right there. Let me take this like that right there. This picture shows you how we evolved through these creatures that are depicted in our head to become the likeness of this woman right here. And look at the calf-like creature on the side of her face, spitting the worm out, serpent there, image of a reptilian-like black man on the back of the ape, demonic-like figure there, the snout of the dinosaur, and then the mother of creation, the witch-like woman, and a 2,000-year-old Jordanian picture. And I know what all of this means. And I can even read this more in detail. And I know what all of this means. I see you on my next video, people. Thank you for watching. And again, link my information to other sites and to other persons. And it only gets better. Thank you.